I love today's theme. One drop, thousands of ripples. If you think about it, TED Talks are like that. One quick talk and the opportunity to impact millions of people. There was an impact in my home recently, just a little ripple, a 10-year-old ripple, and it's my son Ryan. So he's been watching me practice for my TED Talk for the last few weeks, and he was inspired to put together his own TED Talk. So he put together some Google Slides and marched into his class yesterday, his grade 5 class, and he did a presentation on the American Revolution. So I figured if Ryan can do it, I can do it. I asked him last night, I said, "How did it go, Ryan?" And he said, "It went fine." He wasn't even nervous. So anyway, I'm here to talk to you today about the construction industry. The construction industry is a powerful one. There is over 500,000 workers in Canada working in the industry, and it represents 6.1% of the gross domestic product. It's a powerful industry, and it has the power to make a lot of positive ripples in the community. But first, I want to take an informal poll. So when you're sitting in traffic and you hear that there's delays due to construction, how many of you think about all the positive ripples that construction project is going to create? Never mind. Okay, but I want to talk about some of the positive ripples. So think about it. How many lives would a hospital save? How many children will be educated by the construction of that school? And how many athletic and social events will be enjoyed by that newly constructed recreation center? I want to pause for a minute and talk about that recreation center because it's had a huge impact in my own life. I was born in Toronto to teenage parents. They didn't finish high school, let alone attend university or grad school. They were amazing parents, but they didn't have a lot of money. So we didn't travel much. Instead, we went to Pape Centre, which was around the corner from us. The City of Toronto had, and they still have, all kinds of recreation centres with free programming. So instead of traveling, we went to the recreation centre. And I mean, I lived at that recreation centre. I was there 7 days a week. I attended tap, baton, jazz, gymnastics, art classes, swimming, cooking classes. The cooking classes didn't help. But I did become a provincial champion gymnast. And what did that teach me? Going to that recreation center taught me that I could achieve whatever I wanted in life. No limits. No limits at all. The only limits are the ones that you impose upon yourself or that you let others impose upon you. So when I started telling people that I wanted to go to law school, some of them told me only the rich kids go to law school. I didn't listen. Some of them told me that only the boys go to law school. I didn't listen. I went back to Pape Recreation Centre when I was old enough to work, and I taught gymnastics, I taught swimming, I taught senior citizens aquafit classes, and I actually made enough money to pay my university and law school tuitions, books, and a trip down south. So I was the first one in my family that actually went on an airplane. So tuition was a lot cheaper though back then. So I was able to do all of that. So as you can see, the recreation center had a tremendous impact in my life. And I enjoyed working at the recreation center so much, working with the community, that it really did inspire me and solidify my decision to go to law school and become a lawyer. I went to law school to help others. I really and truly love helping others deal with their legal problems. And I wanted to buy my dad a really cool Corvette. So once I had been practicing for a while, I wanted to decide on a specialty. So I thought about it, and I thought the construction industry would be a good one because A, there's only one piece of legislation to deal with, the Construction Lien Act. And I thought it would be interesting. And I also thought if I didn't like it, I could always switch and try another field. But what happened next surprised me. I fell in love with the construction industry. I've been a construction lawyer now for 17 years, and I've loved every minute of it. What do I love about the construction industry? Well, one of the things I love is I love the uniqueness of the projects. I love learning about the history of the projects. So when I was preparing for my talk today, I Googled, what is the oldest constructed building in Ontario. And lo and behold, Brantford showed up. So the oldest church, first Protestant church in Ontario, is the Royal Chapel of the Mohawks. And it was built in 1785, and it was a gift from the Queen to acknowledge and thank the Mohawk people for their support of the British during the American Revolution. By the way, when Ryan did his talk on the American Revolution, he already knew this, and he didn't even have to Google it. But what a project. So this church has been in the community for over 232 years, I think it is. Lawyers are really bad at math, but I believe that's the correct amount of years. But what an impact it's had on the community. So all these years later, you can go there, you can get married there, you can worship there, you can have a tour and learn about the Mohawk Nation, and you can enjoy entertainment and arts at that building. So what a tremendous impact that one chapel has had on the community of Brantford. The other thing I love about the construction industry is that it's really the epitome of teamwork. It takes an entire village to create a construction project. One of the projects that fascinates me is right here in Brantford, the new Laurier Brantford YMCA, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. That project is the culmination of a whole lot of people in the community. It's the culmination of funding contributions by the City of Brantford, the federal and provincial governments, the Laurier University, the Students' Union, and private members of the community. What a contribution, and what an example of a community pulling together. And let's not forget the workers who are constructing the project. You've got the general contractor, the subcontractors, the architects, the engineers, the laborers, the equipment and material suppliers. Truly, an entire village has come together to create this recreation center, this YMCA. Now, let's look at some of the ripples that this center is going to create. It's going to create improved health and wellness in the community. It's going to create all kinds of fun social programs, like the ones that I experienced at Pape Center. It's going to improve the athletics in the community, which in turn will increase the enrollment at Laurier University. And I want to acknowledge the huge contribution that the Laurier University has already made to downtown Brantford. It's going to create closer ties to the students and the community. And who knows, maybe some of those young people will consider going to university like I did, even if their parents didn't attend. It's also going to add community development programs to the community. And it's also going to create lifelong memories. And that's something I'm really passionate about. As I told you, my experience with Pape Center has created lifelong memories for me. And a testament to that impact that a recreation center or a community center can have is the contribution, the huge contribution that two families right here in Brantford have donated to the center. The Kuhn family and the Davis family together have donated millions of dollars to help create this community center. And when I was reading about them in the media, I learned that a lot of their kids took swimming classes at the YMCA. And they are now in turn are contributing to the community. Swimming classes are something that is dear to my heart. I taught kids to swim when I was at the Pape Center. And I remember this one little kid, Ronnie, who was 3 at the time, and I remained good friends with his mom for years. And every time Ronnie would come into the swimming pool, he would scream and cry, like he would sit at the ledge and he would just have a total meltdown. And eventually Ronnie got used to the pool and he learned to swim. And now Ronnie is like 6'3". And I see him in the community and I'm like, hey Ronnie, how's it going? And he's like, hi Janice, done any swimming lately? And he smiles because he remembers, you know, those years when he was just learning to swim in the swimming pool. So you cannot underestimate the impact that this center will have. And it reminds me of a quote from Jim Rohn, which says, whatever good things we build will build us. And so the coming together of the Brantford community and the Laurier community and all the other parties, the coming together to build this center will in turn build you as a community. Now, one of the other things that I love as a lawyer in terms of the construction industry is the complexity of it. I love the challenges of litigating files. And one of the challenges is that construction projects are extremely complex. They're complex because of the interdependent nature of them. They're interdependent financially. So as lawyers, when I train younger lawyers, we always do the pyramid. So we do the pyramid on the law sheet paper that we use to prepare for trial. And we talk about the owner being at the top of the pyramid, the general contractor, the subcontractors, and then the laborers towards the bottom, the equipment suppliers, and the material suppliers. So what happens is there's trust funds on a project, and if the owner doesn't pay the general contractor, then the general contractor usually can't pay the subcontractors, and so it flows down the chain. So if one party stops paying on the construction pyramid, it can freeze the project, and you can have all kinds of litigation that ensues. As a lawyer, I enjoy litigating, but as an owner or a contractor, not so much fun. The other thing about construction is that in order to get the project done, you really have to work as a team. And each trade is dependent upon the other. So for example, if you have lighting, such as the lighting in this room that's going to be supplied, if those lights are delayed, then the electrician cannot install the lighting, so they're delayed. And in turn, the drywallers would be delayed because they can't finish their work until the electrical work is completed. So you can see that one delay on the project can have a negative ripple effect all throughout the project. Now in the construction industry, there's extreme pressure to bring a project on time and within budget. Most projects never are completed on time. I've never really seen one that's completed on time. So it's not unusual, but that's the goal, to complete it on time and within budget. But all kinds of things can happen in the construction industry that make that a real challenge. One of them can be unforeseen site conditions. And we have an example of that in the new YMCA. I'm sure you've all become aware of the fact that on the project, the new YMCA, during excavation, they found over 400,000 artifacts. 400,000 artifacts dating back 1,000 to 1,500 years ago. What an opportunity to learn about communities past. What a beautiful opportunity for the community. But not such a beautiful opportunity for the contractors and the owner of the project, because a delay like that on a construction project can cause a lot of extra time and cost. And in fact, I believe the Brantford project was delayed approximately 18 months with an overrun in costs of about $9 million. So the challenge of that construction project is to now complete it, find extra funding, and complete it on a schedule that's, a lot more extended than originally intended. But it will be done, as most projects are, and it'll be completed in the spring or summer for all of you to enjoy. Now, in terms of the challenges of the construction industry, I've created my own leadership model. Research shows that if employees are happy and they feel engaged, they'll be more productive and the company will be more profitable. In the construction industry, where profits can be tight, you really need to have strong, positive leadership to ensure that your projects are successful. So, what does LEAD stand for? L stands for lead with your heart. And in an industry, I practice in the industry, I'm often the only woman in the room still to this day, but I really enjoy working with the men of the industry. Leading with your heart, it's not something that gets discussed a lot, but it's something that's necessary. People, whether you're male or female, need to feel as though your employer cares. If you feel cared about, you'll care about the work and you'll care about the company, and the company will in turn benefit. E is for excelling at conflict resolution, something that's near and dear to my heart as a lawyer and a Harvard-trained mediator. Excelling at conflict resolution is really important because productivity is killed by conflict. Conflict on projects is a huge productivity killer. And the more insidious conflict is that is hidden because you don't know about it and you can't resolve it. So you need to become skilled at resolving conflict to improve productivity and profitability. The third is A, adding value to the lives of your employees. Research shows that people are motivated when they feel that there is opportunities for development and growth and advancement in the company. So you need to add value to your people and give them opportunities to grow, or they'll leave. And finally, developing trust. As leaders, without trust, you cannot lead anybody. You'll only lead them, you will lead them, but only to the extent that they have to follow you because you're the boss. But true leaders inspire people and motivate people, and people want to follow them because they truly feel a connection to them. If you develop trust in the culture of your company, people can focus on their work. And in an industry where safety is paramount, you want people focused on the work, and you want people focused on getting the job done. If you develop a culture of trust, you'll increase safety, and you'll increase productivity and profitability. So I just want to conclude my talk really by thanking the construction industry. This industry has had a huge impact on my life, both personally and professionally. I really want to pay tribute to the men and women that toil in the industry day in and day out, building these beautiful products and projects that we benefit from every day. They really are the dream builders. They are the change makers in society. And I want to challenge you. The next time you're sitting in your car or walking by a construction project and there's a delay, I challenge you to take a deep breath, smile, and think of all the beautiful ripples that project's going to create for you and the community. Thank you.